This is the part 2 POE for programming. So as you can see here, we are in the main, and the package name.com, and then we have import java.util. That is for the scanner input, which allows the users to enter their data. And then we have scanner input, new scanner system login SLN equals to new system login. So this SLN is an abbreviation for the system login class, which is this one. And then going back to the main method, we prompted the user to enter their first name so that they can be logged into the system, and then as well as their surname. Let me fix that. Their surname. And then moving forward, we said welcome, and then system login name plus system login surname. Please follow the upcoming instructions to ensure a successful registration. And then below we have the menu, the option menu, where the user has to choose between 3 options, which is between registering, logging in, or exiting. So here we used switch case, which is able to give the user options and they are able to choose. And then we also used a loop that will run until the user chooses one of the 3 options, which is selecting one of the following: number 1 register, number 2 login, number 3 exit. And then system.out.print in menu 1, it will print in the menu. And then this is the loop that will run until the user inputs the required data expected from them. So the int selection is all about the selection that the user will make when they view the menu. And then moving forward, we have the loop. It says registration process. So this is the whole process that has to do with the registration: the name, the surname, the cell phone number, as you can see here, the password, and the user's username. And then going down, we have the system.outprint, which will print in which will register the user by putting in the username and the password. And then we have case 2, which is where the user chose one of the menu options, and then it says, thank you for following the instructions, please proceed with the login process. So when the user inputs the correct data, they are able to enter the login process. This is for when they choose the login process, where they will be prompted to enter the username and password, and then they'll be logged in. And then when they're logged in, they have to enter when they're registered, they enter the username and password again. And then we have menu 3, which is where the user has to choose between sending the message, storing the message, or viewing recently stored messages. We still use the switch case. And then we have system.outprint in menu 1. And then we have switch selection 2, where the user enters the desired amount of messages that the system can use in the message ID. So here the user is asked how many messages they would like to enter, and then here it gives us the number of messages that the user would like to enter. And when the user enters the number of messages, that will be automatically updated in the user's message ID. And then here, generated message ID plus the ID. Then we have the please enter recipient cell phone number. The cell phone number has to start with a +27 country code, and then followed by 9 numbers. And then if the user follows the requirements, it will be shown as valid. And then moving on, string message, please enter your message. The maximum of the number of characters that the user is supposed to use for the message is 250. And then moving on, we have the message ID can be generated using the cell phone number and the number of messages that the user uses. And then here we have another menu where the user sends the message, stores the message, or deletes the message. So these are still given more options. And then here we have the session message log summary, which summarizes everything that the user did, which gives a summary of the message hash, the message ID, and the message information. And then here we have the system out print. You did not select from the above options. If the user does not select any of the options and just inputs something that is incorrect, and then it says here, thank you for using the app. Once the user is done using the app and has inputted the correct information, then we go to the message class, which is the class for part 2. As you can see, we have imported the JSON file, which will store the messages in the JSON. And then that was the message test. Let's go to the message class. Here we go. JSON has been imported to store the message files. And then here are the imports for JSON. And then moving forward, we have the string values which have been made private, and these values will be used in the methods and also the constructors. And then this field checks total valid processed entries across execution. And then string builder was also used for the stored messages. And then as you can see here, we have the link, the source that helped me while creating the code. And then next we have the first method, which is the public message method, which is the message ID, the recipient cell, and the message as a string. And then this is the increment of the total messages. The total number of messages has been incremented, which will help when the new message is included and sent, and then the message will automatically be updated. The number of messages will automatically be updated. And then moving on, we have the message length. The message length, as I said before, has to be less than or equal to 250 characters. And if the message is correct, it will say message sent. But then if it has more than 250 characters, it will say please enter a message of less than 250 characters. And then public boolean, check message ID. This message ID, make sure that the characters are not more than 10. And then recipient cell has to start with +27 and be followed by 9 numbers after that, which is the +27 is the country code. And then if the cell phone number is correct, it'll say cell phone number valid. But then if it's wrong, they say invalid format. The cell phone number must start with +27 followed by exactly 9 digits. Okay, and then we have the string create message hash, the string builder hash, which is the new string builder. This condition will only extract the first 2 numbers of the message ID for the message hash. So this is a string builder for the message hash where the semicolon will be included into the message hash. Firstly, we'll have to start with the length. We have to extract the 2 first words in the message, and then the last 2 words in the message. And then the first word will have to be in uppercase. Sorry, we have to extract the first word, which will be in uppercase, and then the last word, which will be in uppercase 2. Let me just fix that. In uppercase. And then we have the sent message method, which will allow the user to choose between option 1 and then the third option, which is 0. So the user here is given 3 options from the previous main method, where they have to choose between storing the message, sending the message, and all of those other options. Then print message, which will print the message. And then if the message has nothing, it will say no messages sent yet. It will also return all the messages that were sent while the program was running. And then total message, this will return the total number of messages that were sent by the user. And then at the bottom, we have the JSON files that was used. As you can see there, this will store the messages and the whole information in the JSON file as shown here. Let me just show you. Documents, and then NetBeans projects, and then we have to look for POE part 2. There we go. This is the messages JSON. And then for the test, to see if the tests have passed, here the tests, we test to see if the main methods work correctly. For invalid, inputs and valid inputs. So let me run the test for the message test file. As you can see, 13 tests were run and then there were no failures. So this is for the message test, and then for the system login test, we have it on the other side. So let me just do that. It also does the same thing. It tests for the invalid selections and the valid selections, and then let me run all of the tests to see if they all passed or if there's a one that failed. The build a success. 18 tests were run and there were no failures. So let us run the code. We have to first try to build it. Let me run it. There it is. It says please enter your first name, and then as you can see, I did not enter the surname, but it did not have worry. So we have to choose between registering, login, and exit. Number one, register. Please enter your phone number +27 followed by 9 numbers. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Your cell phone number has been successfully captured. Please enter your password. And then those are the prompts it will be asking us for as the program still continues running. And that is all for my POE part 2, which is an integration of part 1 and part 2. Thank you.